Welcome to the Unfiltered with Kara podcast. I created this podcast for one reason and one reason only. I want to help you live your best life while you journey out here as a human for an average of 28,000 days. Tune in for conversations, inspiration, tips, and tricks for freeing yourself from the bullshit that weighs you down so you can create a full and happy life, a life that is worthy of you. Welcome to another episode of the Unfiltered with Kara podcast. So excited to introduce to you my next guest, Miss Jessica Rivera. Jessica is an executive coach, speaker, and leadership strategist who helps high-achieving professionals and organizations communicate with clarity, confidence, and impact. She is the founder of JR Coaching and Consulting, where she works with leaders at companies like Turner Construction, JP Morgan Chase, and Workday, helping them strengthen trust, elevate culture, and lead with greater influence. She hosts also workshops, leadership trainings, and transformational retreats. And throughout those platforms, she teaches leaders how to use the power of their words, presence, and mindsets to create results that last. I've been watching Jessica do her thing on social. We have a mutual friend actually, so I met her a few years back. But just watching her rise and how she steps into her fullness as she embarks on this next level of her journey. It's just been very inspiring. So I really wanted to share her here with you. So go ahead and take a listen. Welcome, Jessica Rivera to the Unfiltered with Kara podcast. So excited to have you. You're just one of those people that I've been watching, and I was like, I got to have her on the podcast. You are on fire right now. And
Thank you.
All of it. I'm eating it all up, and I'm like, yes, girl, do that thing. So, obviously my audience doesn't know you, and I really want them to get to know you today. So get right into just tell us who you are, your background, what you're up to that's got me this excited about you, because, now they're about to know. I'm going to put them on. So please
Thank you.
introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. My name is Jessica Rivera, and you can find me on Instagram at jessicarivera.co. That's where I hang out mostly. I am also on LinkedIn, but I really help leaders really understand who they are on a deeper level. And it's really all about leadership, right? So how do you communicate better, more courageously? How do you know yourself deeply? How do you lead unapologetically? And so my background is in corporate. I did business to business sales. And so remotely. And, I lived in the banking world where it's mainly men. I was in many rooms with people that didn't look like me. Usually the only woman, definitely the only woman of color. And I really had to understand myself better to become, I also had toxic leaders, or maybe we don't have to call them toxic, but more on the patriarchal side. And I don't even mean men, because I think the leader I had the most tension with was a woman, but very patriarchal mentality. And so if I had to pick a villain, it's probably patriarchal leadership. But I feel as though we weren't taught how to be leaders, not in a way that I like to be led. I'll say it that way. And many people, especially these days. So we have to unlearn a lot of the things that we learned along the way.
So you just tell us a little bit more about that function. When you say that you were in the banking world, what
Oh,
was the function? Were you leading a team? Were you
yes.
communicating? Okay, because I know
Yeah. So
that you're very big on communicating with clarity, communicating
yeah,
from
with
a place
courage.
of power and a
Yeah.
place of authenticity. And I can totally understand. I mean, I haven't been a corporate chick. I've always kind of been on my own. I worked with an
Yeah.
attorney for 9 months during my pregnancy, and that was all the corporate I could actually stomach. So,
Yeah. I get
I
it.
remember when he told me, he's like, "You are psychologically unemployable," and I really got the compliment that was embedded in that for me, because it was just like, I got it. I am.
I love it.
I'm a solo chick. Like I have to fly solo, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I can understand that when you are in a corporate setting, especially when, you are leading a team, you're leading
Hmm.
people,
Yep.
your people skills got to be on point, your communication skills got to be on point. So you
Yeah.
got all of that going on. So yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think when you think about it, right, the skill set you need to be an individual contributor and the skill set you need to actually lead folks, it's a completely different skill set. And so, being at the top of the leaderboard in sales, business to business sales, was easier for me, right? I was in charge of my results. Now, when you're leading a team which, especially a team you inherit, like I inherited an all male team, many more than half of the team was older than me. Nobody looked like me. I'm not okay. One, and there was one Hispanic guy on there. Um, and it was challenging. It was especially challenging because my leaders wanted me to treat my team the way they treated me. And I felt like they treated me like a child and I hated it. And so which I'm sure I did in the beginning, but I did not want to continue treating my team the way my leaders had treated me. So then how do you do that when you still want to grow in your career, right? Because now these people who are basically, you feel, in charge of your career want you to do it like them. We think we need to do it like them. And so it really took me understanding myself first and understanding what I need to do. So I think not only communicating with clarity, but communicating with courage and compassion. Clarity, courage, and compassion. All of those have to coexist in order for you to lead a successful team. And I work with entrepreneurs all the time. And just because you're an attorney and a lot of your audience may be, I have an attorney right now who has a law firm and he has his law firm is in several different states across the country and they're still listen, he knows how to communicate. We know how to communicate. But do we know how to communicate effectively in a way that we're going to galvanize people and have them do things that we want them to do without telling them over and over and over again? And it does take you don't want to be too, you want compassion, of course, but then you also have the courage to be like, no, you're getting it wrong and you're doing it wrong. But let's have a conversation around clarity. What am I maybe not communicating? How can I communicate better so that you can execute? Or maybe we just have to hold them accountable to whatever it is that they said they would do. So I think it's really important but by the way, we will take a lot of those toxic traits that we learned, whether it be in corporate, whether it be in our household, whether it be whatever it is that we learned, we will do exactly what we didn't like done to us to somebody else.
Right.
So there's a lot that we have to unlearn.
So when so that's a perfect segue to, you said earlier, you got to get to really know yourself and dig into yourself so that you can lead from a place that is in alignment with who you actually are
Correct.
versus
Correct.
what you inherited from outside or what you saw done. So how did you do that for you first? Because obviously you're helping other leaders do that. You have to lead yourself first to be able to lead somebody, right? So
Number
what
one skill, number one leadership skill.
huh?
Number one leadership skill is
Absolutely.
self leadership.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't take someone somewhere you haven't been. And, there's, again, you can be a boss or you could be a leader. They're two different things. It's two different approaches. And so, what did you have to do to go within? Because I'm sure it's
Hmm.
an inside job. So you've got to go
Hmm.
within and say,
Hmm.
okay, this is how I want to land when I'm speaking to people. This is how I want to influence versus command, right? So
Correct.
what did you have to do on Jessica so that you got to a place where not only were you leading from that space, that you can now actually coach somebody to do that?
Yeah. Um, And so the first thing I think we can command the room, but the force part is where we want to get it out, right? So I believe in influence and commanding the room, but let's go back. So I think where it really started for me was I was motivated by money. I wanted to make more money. And so I needed to release some of the fear that was in my head because when I tell you I teach communication, I was terrible at public speaking. I was deathly, not terrible, afraid, so afraid of public speaking. I was good one on one if I had to sell or talk or teach. And I wasn't even good in the beginning, right? I made myself or taught myself to be good because I wanted to make money. And so, but I wanted to grow in my career. In order to grow in this corporate setting, you needed to be able to speak on stages and all those other things. And I remember thinking when I would be in the audience, like, they're just so good at it. Like they're just natural at it. Like I'm not natural at it. I remember crying off of like I had to present something in the sixth grade and I ran out of the classroom crying in tears. I wouldn't even give a toast at a family function. That's how bad it was. But if I wanted to go where I envisioned myself going, I needed to get over the fear. And so I would challenge myself and it would be small, little things. Like it started like, let me volunteer to speak at church, like little small things. So it really started, like you said, it's an inside job. Okay, now I get over that fear, or I'm starting to get over that fear. But when you even peel the onion back more, why was that fear even there? And the fear was there because I was afraid of like looking dumb. I was afraid of sounding dumb. I was afraid that people were going to think I wasn't smart enough. I'm not saying the right thing. What if my New York accent comes out? I worked for a company who was based out in Dallas. So I worked with people all over the country. And then what if I would get often like, you're so New York. You're so like, I was too aggressive. And what if I came off too aggressive and all of that? And so many times we walk into spaces and rooms thinking, oh, Kara's going to think, or she sighed, oh my God, she must be thinking like, I'm over here making up this story in my head. I had to stop making up stories about myself first
So
before
powerful.
I had to worry about like I'm over here thinking they're thinking whatever when they may not even be thinking that at all, and many times they're not. And so I really had to your point, do that inside work. And not only did it start with what's interesting is that I really did it because I wanted to become a better leader, but I became a better everything. Fill in the gaps,
Of
better
course.
mother, better daughter, better friend, better everything. Because now I'm able to challenge what I wasn't ever afraid of was challenging people. That I always did. I always used to say I should have become an attorney because boy, I could debate.
Right.
Boy, I could debate. But and I now knew how to challenge in a way that was going to land. And you know how major that is to be able to give my opinion in a room where there's tension and say, hey, hang on a second. The way I'm looking at it is, I'm not sure if you can see my side, but my side is, and also the other part of it is we're always looking for validation. And so if someone didn't agree with you or doesn't agree with you in a meeting, typically you're like overthinking that, or at least I was. And many people that I work with are. And so we would be overthinking that. And meanwhile, it's like, why not just be okay with they didn't get it? Or maybe your point isn't for the broader audience. Maybe it's only what you understand. And all of that is okay because many times, like let's say you and I are in a meeting and you say something and I don't really agree with that, but it could spark another idea and it could make the everything even better. So it's you're not right, I'm not right, like, but we came together and now there's a better idea. And so we have to detach from like our ego.
And listen, you said something, and I don't know if you heard yourself say it, but you said that you've got to be detached from what the person in the room might be thinking, and also realizing that what you think that they're thinking is probably not even what they're thinking. The power of that, because I want to dance on that a little bit, because um all of your fears are related to how you're going to be perceived and the danger that you're perceiving of if it's not the way you would have wanted to be perceived, right? I
Hmm.
came to realize that when it comes to speaking, anyways, in front of people. And when I decided that I am going to speak for the sake of just being a contribution and for the sake of just sharing what I've got built
Your
into
perspective.
my perspective and understanding that It's not a popularity contest. Not everybody's going to like what I have to say, and they shouldn't. And not everybody is going to dig me. And that's what makes the world go round. That's actually what activates conversation, what activates debate, what activates growth is a little bit of tension. And I started welcoming it and I started looking for it versus when I tell you I unencumbered my entire self. And that's what I see with you. I see someone who is coming into the room to contribute for the sake of contributing. And as a result of that, you move the room because the person who doesn't agree with you still respects what you just said.
Yeah.
And
I think
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, I don't think people understand that enough. That, and listen, we've been programmed, right? Think about school. It's like, wait your turn, raise your hand. In many homes, right? Even if it wasn't your home, you still learn it in school. But then if your house was like that and then school was like that, it's like you think you need to follow somebody else's rules and that your input is not valuable until they say so. And that is what we need to deprogram. And you know, and I'm sure you know, because I have met MDs, PhDs, Esquires. They're so used to following the rules and doing the right thing,
Right.
they can't even get out of their own way.
Right.
They can't even get out of their own way. They almost don't even know how to verbalize their own opinion. They don't even know what their own opinion is.
Right. And one of the things that I do in when I work with, because just like you, I do the coaching, the attorneys, a lot of attorneys, and even just other women, it's you've got to step into your own main character energy. You are the main character of your story, of your life, of whatever narrative is happening for you. You're the main character of that. Everybody else is either a supporting actor or an actor or an extra, right? So if you are showing up from that space as a main character, if you go you watch a movie, right? The main character, everything is revolving around that character, right? And that character is really technically the most powerful individual in
Yeah.
the movie. And so when you're not showing up in your full power in the movie that is your life, right? Who's doing it? You're now being puppeteered by people that are not the main person in the story. And
Yeah.
so embodying that is so important. And I love that you said, it's the fact that I'm saying it for the sake of I know this is what I think. And I'm not here for you to necessarily buy into it. I want to have a conversation, and you might not believe in what I say, but that's a good thing, and we're gonna go from here, and something can just sprout out of that, and welcoming that. Isn't that so freeing though?
It's absolutely so freeing. And I also want to say, go back to something you said. So yes, I want to come into the room and I want to contribute, and I'm going to contribute my perspective. But by the way, my contribution may also be listening, because you don't have to speak all the time. Guess what? I have an opinion on everything. Do you have to know what every opinion is? Probably not,
Right.
right? If everyone at the table, and this happened to me not too long ago, everyone at the table speaking about something, and I completely disagreed, but the girl was happy. Why am I going to poo poo on her happiness just because I disagreed? So I left it alone. I said nothing. And I remember someone said to me, "Wow, you were really quiet." I was like, "Oh, I didn't have anything to contribute. I was just listening." Right? So sometimes being the leader in the room means you're just listening, because I'm not here to spoil someone else's fun either.
Right.
Right? She's happy with the way things worked out. They Cool. I'm not going to lie either. So I said nothing. So I think really understanding that it does not mean that you have to give every opposing opinion all the time and take up all the energy and all the space in the room. You don't have to do that either. Because
Right.
I think sometimes the most powerful person in the room and the one who can command the room is the one who, yes, is confident, but then also is confident in staying quiet.
Absolutely. So now I want to switch gears a little because I have so many questions for you, girl. Listen, I I hope you got time. So So, in doing the work, right, on yourself, in
Mm-hmm.
doing the work on um, figuring out who Jessica really is, how she really
Yes.
wants to show up in the world, what impact she wants to have. I've
Mm-hmm.
watched you also create space for other high
Mm-hmm.
power women to do the same. I saw your retreat recently in Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
definitely need to sign up for the next thing you're doing, and we got to do something together. Um,
Mm.
I would love to do something together with you because that,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
what? Oh, yeah, we could have impact. But anyways, I digress. Um, what I saw though more than anything is someone, and I relate to that, is someone who figured it out for herself and now is creating space and holding space for other women to step into that power space because
Mm-hmm.
they are high performing but also being held back by the narrative in their head of what they inherited from home, that somebody told them that they weren't good enough and all of that, because it literally permeates everything. Noise in your head, the
Mm-hmm.
trauma that wasn't dealt with, the
Mm-hmm.
the story you hold about yourself that somebody projected onto you that is not even true, but here you are operating from that, completely disempowered. That shit affects your money. Okay, it affects how power, it affects the opportunities you go for or not. And so I'm saying that and I'm getting chills because that's like I'm such an advocate for women just getting unencumbered so that
Mm-hmm.
they can go for big and go for what they were really made for. Because what I see when I see you is you unencumbered yourself. That's why you're going this big. That's why these opportunities are opening themselves up to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's you now know that you are that girl. So, in creating these spaces to help other women know that they are that girl in their own right, in their own world, talk about that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to unpack there for sure. Because what what does it mean for you to be that girl? Right? What does that even mean? And when you think about I will say this, I think I always had like a nice level of confidence because of the way I was raised. Like my father was like a huge cheerleader for his daughters. And so I think that that definitely played in our psyche. Um but there were areas where I didn't feel like I was that girl, that I need to prove myself more, especially when it came to people that, which is like the wild part about what I do right now, because I coach. I mean, all the titles, like what are all the three letters behind the name, right? The Esquires, the PhDs, the MDs, like all of it. Um, in different companies, but I never even finished college. Like that's the crazy part. That's the wild part because but I know people, right? And I've experienced world in a way that helps me connect with so many different types of individuals, which is so beautiful. So what does that mean for you to be that fill in the blank, that girl, that guy, that I'm her, I'm him? What does that mean for you? And really understanding and unpacking it in a way that makes you feel so empowered that and what I think people don't realize is the more you do it, the more you feel it. The more you feel empowered, the more you challenge someone, the more you say no, the more that you really get in tune with who am I and who do I want to show up as? Who is that person? Who's that next level person? That next level person. I've met C-suite executives that are in charge of everything. There's still a new level for them. There's still that book that they didn't write. There's still that something, right? So really understanding who are you in your next phase, me being able to do that for myself, and there's still so much more to come, so much more to come. And to be able to see me unlock that for people. And by the way, I started doing that when I was in corporate for my team. And that's what sparked me. Because I was like, wow, it's one thing to help someone close a deal. It's another thing to help them like close themselves on you. Like you are that person. You belong in that room. You're not asking for their time. You're gifting them with your time.
Clock it. That's what my daughter would say. My daughter would do this. Yes, clock And so helping someone see that to me is such a gift. I recently I had this retreat, and I'm having one again coming up in November. And I had this one woman in the room that I kept my eyes on because she came in so, shoulder kind of folded over, like very closed off. The brows were together, like very close, and just very you could she felt energetically she was like on her, like folded onto herself. And as the weekend progressed, and as we were doing different exercises, I was seeing her shoulders, open up, and I could see her eyebrows spreading. And like, you can't put a price on that. And I'm sitting there getting so energized, like as I'm watching her reaction, I'm like, oh, I got her, I got her, I got her, I got her. Like, because it was one of those that it was just the way she came in, her predisposition was so low energy that I was
Yeah.
like, am I going to be able to crack her by the end of this whole thing? Right. And it's so
Yeah.
fun when you're cracking them, right? It's landing. And it's like,
Girl,
yes, uh-huh.
when you put yourself in service like that, it's like I don't think people understand what a gift they give you, like the instructor, the
Right.
gift, when you're actually making that transformation, when you actually care about people on that deep, deep, deep level. And what's interesting, because we're similar in that way, where I'm like, okay, is this gonna work? Like, okay, am I cracking, or like cracking them or whatever, right? Transforming them. And in a retreat, you'll see that there's always like one or two that it's like you see a massive
Yeah.
transformation at the end. And the challenge for me recently has been, can I do it in the corporate setting?
Right.
Because I get hired by large organizations to go in and do leadership development and all this stuff. And I'll stop and do a meditation. Like, I will do all the things. And I was recently in Kansas City with a big organization, and girl, 80% of the room was in tears. It was wild. It was so, I was like, yeah. Like, if I thought I didn't have a gift, God just fucking reminded me,
Yeah, he
like,
was just like,
you
yeah,
have a
you,
gift.
you are that girl. They're literal. Yes, you
Literally.
are her. You are her. And
Yeah.
it's the embodiment of that. It's not
Yes.
it's not until you embody this energy. It's not here. It's not in your head. It's not even in your heart. It's in your cells. It's
Yes.
you knowing that this is who I am. This is no one can beat me at this. I the Someone else can come and do it, and they're gonna do a fabulous job in their shoes, in their own way, in their own perspective, with the lens they carry.
That's
All,
right.
but as far as beating me at this, no, ma'am,
No,
no, ma'am,
no.
no.
And I was a type of person that I did not think I had a gift, right? I thought, like, especially if you like bring me back, like, let's bring like young Jessica here, right, who had a child at 19, who just who there was a level of confidence and a level of unworthiness all in the same girl. If we bring her back, it's like the talented people are like people who can sing and can play an instrument, and like, I did not think I had a gift. And so to be able to know people on that deep of a level is just like,
And to move them,
and to
to
move them, and to
move
be able
them.
to move them on a level. So what's interesting is that I always used to say, like, I became the leader that I never had. And um not that I haven't had good coaches, but I never felt like I had somebody who like saw my soul. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
made me, like, shook me in a way that I like feel like well, not that I feel, I know, because they tell me. Like, what's wild is someone hired me to do a speaking event, and she's like, the reason I hired you is because when I met you 2 years ago, you changed my life. And I was like, tell me how I did that. I want to know. I want to know.
Yeah.
So, so for people to come to you and say, "Oh, you changed their life. You did this." So I have no choice but to believe it,
Right.
to believe me that
Yeah.
I have that gift and that power because people tell me and they show me. And so it is so I can't even explain how I feel on the inside.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And what you said just now, for the woman who is listening, who thinks that she is underqualified
Yeah.
because of her background, her story, her, oh, I got pregnant at whatever, or I
Yeah.
didn't finish college at whatever, right? You are
Yeah.
a just living, breathing,
I'm proof.
ticking proof and testimony that this is
100%.
key relevant information. Because
Yeah.
what it is at the end of the day is when you have a God-given gift that was implanted in you
That's
and
right.
that you showed up with it. And a
Uh,
lot of women know they carry something.
yeah.
They know it. And I mean, of course, men as well. I just have an audience that is more, female or women, listen to me more. And at the end of the day, your job, your job more than anything is to figure out what that is. What is that? What is that gift? What is that thing that no one can beat you at that? When you embody that,
Mm.
when you step into that, because I'm sure, Jess, you're good at a lot of things. We have so many things that we're good at. Multifaceted beings, great mom, great this, great that, right? But you got that one thing also that you do when you
Yeah.
get on, because I know when I get on that mic and I am here to impact that room, it's like something takes over. It's not, it's speaking through me, right? And after I've said certain things, I'm like, damn, that was good. I don't even know where that came from, but that was good, right? And so the fact that you have been able to embrace that calling and and show up from that place of gifting is such a what an opportunity of a lifetime that is, right? And so talk about how important it is to place yourself in
Hmm.
environments that call forth
Hmm.
those gifts, because you could have kept those gifts dormant, right? I
Hmm.
know for a fact, I say that all the time. I didn't know I had a gift to empower women until I was in Mary Kay. Like, I went into Mary Kay because I needed some extra money. I didn't want to go back to work after my son. And then here I am, I'm in this environment, and now I'm like, oh shit. I have a gift. I have a skill. Women want, they want to hear me talk. I have
Hmm.
women coming into my
Hmm.
meetings instead of going to their directors meetings that were on a completely
Hmm.
coming into mine. And I'm like, why y'all here? Don't you have your own director? But they're like, I don't know. There's something about the way you say it. You say it this one way and it lands.
Yeah.
The environment informed me that I had a gift. So
Hmm.
talk about that, because it sounds to me that, the more you place yourself and dare to raise your hand for certain opportunities, the more you're uncovering about who you be and what you got in you. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that because it's so important. I like to say now when I think about it that it's not only our duty, but it's our responsibility to figure out what that is. Because I know for me, I had a successful, when we met, I was still in corporate. I ran teams. I didn't work in an office. I worked remotely. I created my own schedule. Like it wasn't a situation, like it was good.
Yeah.
There's nothing really to complain about. I made good money, all the things. So, but there was still a desire for something more. And I think many times when you're in that space, it's like, oh, I need another promotion, or I want to grow in the organization. And maybe that is for some people, right? Maybe that's your path. But there was a burning desire within me that knew I was meant for more. And that desire was not something that was birthed when I was working in corporate. It was something that was ingrained in me from very young. That I would push down, right? Push down. It's like, okay, well, let me go this path. Okay, I have like all these responsibilities. Let me go this path. It's like, you know, you want to follow a certain trajectory, right? Whatever's going to make you more successful, whatever that is, right? The safer route. And so it's as I started kind of unraveling that, and God along the way pushed me, right? He pushed me to go. I wanted to be happier. I wanted to be less frustrated. I wanted to be able to say what was on my mind. I wanted to be able to feel like I was me, not like corporate me, not work me. I was me all the time. I remember the first time my boss at the time had heard me curse. He was like, "Wow, you must be really worked up." I said, "No, actually, this I actually curse a lot.
Actually, how I really am. Like this
Actually,
is
actually, I curse a lot." And he's like,
more
"What?"
than you probably want to know.
Exactly, exactly. I have a potty mouth, really. And he was like, "Oh, really?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"I'm not worked up at all, actually." Uh,
this is me mellow.
so exactly, this is me mellow. So I think I really had to understand me, and again, who did I want to show up as? And I was done playing the game. I was done pretending. I was done holding it in. I had made a decision that I was just going to be me. And I don't even realize at the time, I didn't even know how powerful that was. But all I knew was that it felt good and that it made me attract the right type of people and that I felt a sense of ease on the inside. So I was like, yep, I'm doing more of this. I'm doing more of this. You know how, well, maybe you don't, but like in corporate meetings, the boss will be like, I want everybody's real opinion, and they never want everybody's real opinion. So I would report. Well, since you asked, I would always say first, since you asked for a real opinion, I'm going to give it to you, and then I would go ahead and say exactly what everybody else was thinking. But again, I would make sure that my tone was checked, that my body language was checked. I no longer needed you on my side. My whole energy was different. And so it landed differently. And I also remember a colleague of mine when I first started doing the work on myself, we walked out of a meeting and he said to me, who was that girl in that meeting? Because I've never met her before. I've never met her before, but you did an amazing job, challenging and da da da, whatever. So I think it's important for us. And I always say this it's like, let's say you're super unhappy in a relationship or in a job. I always say never leave. That's your opportunity to test the new you, challenge more, ask for what you want, figure out who you truly are because you have to still take you with you.
Right,
And so you're going to find those same problems somewhere else in another body.
right,
So you might as well practice where you are and you never know. It may get better, but it became a game for me on, ooh, this is a nice challenge. Let's see if I can like not get angry, not get upset, or let's see if I could be the new me in the same scenario. I
right.
always felt like anytime I had a challenge, I'm like, oh yeah, let's see if I can do it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, you were not really being the new you. You were being the real you. You were
There we
coming
go.
back home.
That
You were
part.
coming back. That
That part.
part. Can we just talk about that? Yeah, that
That
part.
part.
You resumed back to you dropped down the mask, dropped down the identity that pleased the outside, so that
Right.
you could actually please Jessica for for once, and
Yep.
allow the actual people around you to get an opportunity to really experience you. Right,
Oh,
and
by
not
the way, I was experiencing me for the first time. I
that
was
part.
also experiencing me because
Yeah,
there was also parts of me on the personal side and professional side where I was too defensive. I was taking things entirely too personal. There was like so many things that I needed to let go. By the way, there are so many things that I still need to let go that I'm still practicing. What part of me has to die? What part of me has to die? What part of me has to die? I'm consistently asking myself that because if I do not have everything I want, then there is a part of me that I need to let go of.
yep,
What part of me has to die? That's
yeah.
always the question.
And it's not it's I think it's not a death where it's shame on you. It's more of thank you for what you thought you were protecting me from. Thank you
That's
for
right.
how you have carried me here. And then also, I release you because you no
Yeah.
longer are serving me and you're actually in the way of my
Yeah.
next. And but thank
Exactly.
you. Thank you, all the love and all the things. All right, so I'm gonna switch gears because I still have more questions and I'm like, oh my God, it's almost an hour. You recently created a post, and I was like, she got it. Money. The post said, the problem that you guys have is that you are waiting, something along the lines of you are waiting for when you need a brand to create it
Oh,
instead of creating the brand now so that when you need it, you already have it. That. Okay. Now let me adjust myself. Why to me that is so important is because nowadays, you are selling yourself. You are selling yourself. That's what we do,
hmm
right?
hmm
People, opportunities are only going to come to you um, when people can identify what you stand for. Who are
hmm
you? Who are you?
hmm
And
hmm
people are watching. People are watching. They may not like your stuff. They may not share your stuff. But them views, they are viewing, they're watching, all of that. And they're referring,
hmm
they're recommending.
hmm
Right. So, um and I believe attraction marketing is one of those powerful ways of growing your business, growing your company, growing upping your money that we don't talk enough about. People always
Yeah.
think like you got to go out to go chase versus attract. So, I know you got content on this. So,
Yeah.
please speak to the importance of branding yourself, of showing up consistently, not for the likes, but for the purpose of establishing yourself as an not necessarily an influencer, but an
A
authority,
subject matter expert. A
an
subject matter
authority.
expert.
Yes, subject
Yes.
matter expert, and yes.
Sorry.
So please
Yeah.
speak on that. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Because I know
So
you
this
got.
it's girl, it's so vital. And we could say nowadays, but it's always been this case. This has always been the case, right? The loudest person wins. The best marketer always wins, right? Not because they have the best product, not because they're the best of whatever, but they always win. And I am done hearing people complain about somebody else who's not doing it right, who isn't an expert, who and still gets the jobs or whatever. That's your fault. That's your fault because you're not out there talking about you. And so here's the thing, to your point, especially nowadays, it's always been this way, but especially nowadays, your voice needs to be heard. If you think like Warren Buffett, um, any of the greats, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what do they say? You have got to become the best communicator. Public speaking is a money skill. It's a money skill. You want to make more money? Whether you work in corporate or you're an entrepreneur, same rules apply because you have to let people know not only what you stand for. People think the work speaks for itself. The work doesn't talk. You do. So you have to let people know what you do. Who are you? To your point, what do you stand for? What are your values? How do you do it differently? How do you do it better? Like, we have got to stop. There's a big difference between having humility and being humble. And look up the definition for both. They're completely different words. And so you have to stop wearing this badge of humble honor. Like, let me just not talk about myself. Let me make believe somebody else is more worthy, better, blah, blah, blah. When you're like, no, I could do that much better than talk about it. And so whether it be LinkedIn, whether it be your own social platform, whatever it is, Instagram, whatever you choose, but you have got to learn how to speak up for yourself in a way that's going to and really articulate a lot of people use too many words, but articulate yourself in a way that is easy, clear, concise. What do you want? What's your BHAG? What's your big audacious goal? What do you want to see in the world? What do you believe in? that is automatically going to attract your people. And I'll say this, one thing I'm not good at is cold calling. I just, actually, I think I should do a better job of that. But I'll tell you, even with that, I have worked with some of the largest brand, a huge tech brand, huge construction brands, the government, like so many. And I have never called anyone. These brands have the pick of the litter, and I still get the call. So, and they still choose me. There's a reason for that, because I say the thing that, and I don't even think let me tell you something. I feel like there's another level of audaciousness that I need to get to. And people already still say, wow, I can't believe you said that. What did I say that was so bad? I didn't say anything that was bad. And what I know for sure is that it's working. And so I just need to get louder and need to talk more.
Right. And because that's the deeper your reach is gonna go.
That's
You
right.
can only listen, you can only reach but so many people if you stay in your little cocoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're living in an environment where I always say we are all branches of the same tree. We just have to be, we get to be a contribution to one another. But I
Yeah.
can get to that branch that's all the way over there if I'm just, just Peter Pattering over here. I've got to be loud enough and cast my net and send my message out. Recently, I did a post where it was that I'm gonna shine as bright as I possibly can, like a lighthouse, not because I see the boats, but because I'm a lighthouse. I know that I'm a lighthouse. I know that I have a message, and you who you're listening, you have a message. You
That's
are
right.
a lighthouse. So how bright and how audacious are you going to be in order for the boats that need to hear you, that need to see you, that need your guidance, that
Mm-hmm.
need what you provide for them to find you? And that's by being on many platforms. That is by having a consistent message day in, day out, day in, day out, like putting it out there. Because what better time to exist in where you have all of these free platforms where you can showcase who you really are and get opportunities that are directly in alignment with who you are, not who people want you to be, not who your boss wants you to be, but who you really are, and finding your own opportunities, making your own way for yourself. What a
Mm-hmm.
better time to do that. And I just would hate for someone to listen to this, having two women who have created their brands in their own separate rights and doing the things, not to get the importance of that. Because I think that branding is not talked about enough. Self
Yeah.
branding. Because even if you end up, let's say you're not going to be a speaker, even if you end up at a job, someone can find you because they can see the essence of who you are based on your content and how you show up.
Yeah. Well, listen, I know someone in a big organization, Fortune 500, huge global organization. The way she got her promotion was through LinkedIn. It wasn't through her internal um connections. It was through LinkedIn, because she created a brand on LinkedIn. She didn't move the company, but she moved the department and got a huge promotion through LinkedIn. So like, not only is it possible, like it's almost mandatory for you to create your brand on LinkedIn if you're going to be in corporate. But I want to talk about this because I know we got to go, we're at time, but I want us to think about this, because a lot of the reason why people don't branch out is because of fear, right? A lot of this is really derived by fear. We are afraid that people are going to think, fill in the blank, right? Whatever that is. And I'm going to say this. When I first started, I was never one of those people that like got online and would like share stories, like, and I don't know if you were, like, I know there's a lot of people that whether you were selling something or not back in the days, people would get on Facebook and get on Instagram and speak. I would never do that. I never did that. So when I created this platform and created this channel, and started speaking, it was the first time. And so, yes, I could speak in corporate and do that thing, but now it's different. Now I'm like in the no, people didn't even know what I did. They just knew I made money, right? They knew I worked for an organization and I made money. So now I'm speaking on the camera. Now, then I'm doing lives. And to your point of the way I had told myself was, it doesn't matter. What only matters is I reach one person. It doesn't matter who's on my live. It doesn't matter how many likes. I did not want to fall victim to the vanity matrix metrics, because it wasn't about that. It was about creating impact, and it was about me being consistent, and it was about me getting a tiny bit better than I was yesterday. And the reason why I can get on all these stages now is because being on Instagram, talking all the time, that was practice. I
Right.
considered everything practice. And so when we stop making it about us and we make it about service, then I think it just becomes a lot easier. I'm out of my head. I'm out of my ego. It's not about me. It's about them. It's about me creating impact. It's about me creating impact in my organization, like building my business. So I think we really have to understand the fear that we have, because I would be like, oh my God, so and so, oh my gosh, what are they going to think about me? Like, it was embarrassing, but I was not going to allow my feelings to get in the way of the outcome that I desired.
Right. And the person that most likely you are worried about what they're going to think is not your audience. It's not your person.
Well, let me say
It's not
this.
even your person. It's
But
somebody
but but
who's
but but let me tell you, I would be like, oh my God, so and so saw this, like whatever person from work or that I've known from high school, and they would be like, when they saw me, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe there.
yeah.
The naysayers, I'm sure there were. I don't know who they are, because they didn't come to me and tell me anything. 9 out of 10 times, or 10 out of 10 times, people were so excited for me.
And you're doing something that they wish they had the courage to do. You're doing something and you're giving a lot of people permission to actually do. Listen,
That's
I've
right.
watched a few people that were very quiet, watch me do and then start doing. And they will tell you that. They are doing because they saw you do. And so you don't know the impact of your work, of your words, of your consistency. If there is a message in your belly, if there is a passion in your belly, if there is a desire to do something, whatever that something looks like, the person who has to give you permission to do it is you, no one else. And the sooner you do that, the sooner you can actually experience the fruits of daring, of doing it. And so, I always say you only have 28,000 days out here. We are all as grim and brim as that gonna be. We're all gonna die, right? Like,
That's right.
no one leaves here. No one leaves here alive, right? so
That's it.
so while you do this dance, call this human experience, this human journey, why not play full out? Why not
Mhm.
see what you really are made of? Why
That's
not
right.
dig deep? Why not bet on yourself? Why not, look stupid if you have to, but then also see how you are on the other side of that, because you're
Mhm.
not gonna die from looking quote unquote spin to who. At the end of the day, it's your judgment of yourself that is in your own way. And if you can let that go and actually embrace who you are, embrace what you are made of, you'll get an opportunity to actually experience
That's
you
right.
in a
That's
way that
right.
only in that framework can you experience the depth of you. So,
That's right. And the last thing I want to say too, it's like, I want you to stop trying to change everybody else and start changing you, because
woo!
that's where the real reward is.
Yes. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Rivera, I told you she was going to crush it. I knew you were going to crush this interview. And of course, you did deliver. So, jessicarivera.co is where you can find my girl here. And this was amazing. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much for having me.
gracing us with your presence, with your wisdom, with your insight. Definitely will have you back. This was amazing. Until next time. You were just listening to the Unfiltered with Kara podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to receive new episode notifications. Also, if you found value in this content, please take a moment to like, comment, and share it with those you love. Until next time, much love and light to you and yours.